Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mahdi Tijani back with you again. Is the Red Pill, Fresh and Fit podcast, and the Rational Male, Rollo, is that haram? Is the Red Pill haram, and is listening to Fresh and Fit and the likes of Rollo, is that haram? That's going to be the basis of my video today. And aside from just halal and haram, I'm going to talk about whether there is any benefit in listening to podcasts that revolve around the so-called red pill. So let's get into it. So since a video recently that has gone viral about Andrew Tate talking very, how can we say, talking favorably, praiseworthy, in a praiseworthy manner about Islam. The Fresh and Fit podcast has gotten obviously a lot of exposure, and one of the individuals who runs that podcast is a Sudani. He's a Sudanese Muslim, but I believe his Muslim name is Amr. Now he goes by the name of Myron Gaines, but his actual name is Amr. Anyway, this gentleman, he openly and clearly engages in haram, and he advertises that openly. Now I have a lot of positive things to say about Myron, but I need to get the obvious things out there first, and that is he openly engages in fornication. He's quite open about that, and he openly talks about his consumption of alcohol. He's also quite open about that. He doesn't drink usually, but he's made it clear in some of his videos, if he's in a social setting, he doesn't want to be a buzzkill. He will drink with them. So he's clearly involved in that lifestyle. And as a result of that, some other content creators, Muslim content creators, have basically taken that, his lifestyle and the haram that he engages in, and essentially wiped him out from a perspective of, you shouldn't listen to this guy, period. Don't take anything from him. I believe this to be quite ignorant, and I'll tell you why. Take good wherever you find it. Take the good wherever you find it. And there is a lot of lessons that you can learn from the Red Pill itself, and then the likes of Fresh and Fit podcast, Rational Male, and so on. And I'll explain to you how. Now, as for Myron, despite his open sinning, he's still a proud Muslim. He proudly identifies as a Muslim. He doesn't hide it. He goes out of his way to tell people that he identifies as a Muslim. Now, the issue he will face, if and when he comes back to the deen, which I believe that he will eventually, because he's proud of his deen. And anyone who's proud of their deen, eventually they usually come back around if they're given enough life to do so. The issue he will face is a similar issue that the girls he speaks about face, which is, if you're a girl who's been ran through by many men, and then you've gotten past a certain age, you're going to find it very hard to find a man. If he comes back to the deen, he will have a similar problem in that, because he's advertised his sin so openly, once he starts practicing, you can't take that back. That's out there on the internet. So he's going to have a problem finding a practicing Muslim wife. I don't think it would be impossible for him. I just think that's something he's going to have to bear in mind once he does come back to the deen, inshallah, if Allah guides him. Now, let's get to the content. First and foremostly, red pill. What is red pill? If you remember the Matrix, this whole term is taken from the Matrix, when Neo was offered the blue pill or the red pill. Take the blue pill, you can carry on life as normal. Take the red pill, and you essentially unplug from the sweet lies that society has told you, and you get to see the world for what it is. That's what the red pill refers to. Now, from a perspective of relationships between man and woman, intersexual dynamics, that's all the red pill is. The red pill is not an ideology, it's a praxology, to quote Rollo. What's the difference? I'll show you. Okay, so an ideology is a system of ideas. So an ideology is a system of ideas, ideals, especially one which forms the basis of economic or political theory and policy. Or you can have down here the other definition, the science of ideas, the study of their origin and nature. That's what an ideology is, okay? What is the red pill? Because it is not this. The red pill is a praxology. You could put it up here on Google real quick. What's praxology? It's the study of human action and conduct. The end. It is a study of human behavior, action, and conduct. How humans behave. That's all it is. That's exactly what the red pill is. The red pill is the study of human behavior. How humans behave and why they do. Period. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that, whether that comes from a Muslim or a non-Muslim. To say that consuming red pill content is haram is like saying that because the companions wrestled and Islam encourages wrestling, physical exercise through wrestling, you shouldn't seek wrestling training from a non-Muslim trainer. Just Islam is enough, brothers and sisters. Islam is enough. The companions wrestled. Why do you need to seek wrestling advice or wrestling coaching from a non-Muslim? What's the purpose of that? And obviously that sounds like madness to you right now, because it is madness. That's exactly what it is. If you want to become an Olympic wrestler, you want to reach a high level of wrestling, you seek that wrestling coaching wherever you may find it. Because ultimately the end result is the same, becoming more proficient in wrestling. Equally with the red pill and studying intersexual dynamics, you seek that knowledge wherever you can find it. Whether it comes from a Muslim or a non-Muslim is irrelevant. What's relevant is the study of human conduct and behavior. That's what's relevant. Now, of course, there are certain ideas that the red pill promotes in the non-Muslim community, which are haram for us to engage in, such as, for example, promiscuous sex and all the rest of it. But you can still take those lessons. I'll give you an example. One of the recommendations in the red pill community is to spin plates, which is to have multiple women on your roster at the same time. I tell brothers to do the exact same thing when it comes to marriage. When it comes to marriage and you're looking for a sister, don't commit all of your resources and time and effort to just one sister. No, make sure you're speaking to many sisters at the same time. Why? Because the more women you speak to at the same time, the less likely you will become attached to any one of them. And the moment you become overly attached to a woman, you start projecting neediness. This starts to put her off and pushes her away, sorry. It's a put off for her. So the more options you have, the less committed you are to any one of those options. You see? So we can take an idea that is inherently red pill that the non-Muslims have spoken of, because red pill essentially comes from the likes of Rollo and so on, maybe a bit before that. But the idea of red pill from a perspective of intersexual dynamics, it stems from them. Is there good that I can take from this advice? Is there some seed of good that makes sense, that has a logical rooting that I can take and apply it as a Muslim? If yes, then do so. I'll give you another example. Never negotiate on Mahar. Why? Why do I tell the brothers, don't negotiate on your Mahar? Why do I say that to them? Because when a sister quotes you a mahar price, she says to you, I want £10,000, £5,000, £20,000, it doesn't matter. When she quotes you a number and you say to her, sister, I'm afraid I can only afford such and such, whatever your counter offer is. And she says to you, that's tough, you need to go away and save. Why do I tell the brothers not to go away and save anything and to just leave her and move on? This is why. Because what the woman is essentially communicating to you is, I don't rate you. Therefore, I need you to sweeten the deal with money. Don't marry a woman like that, who doesn't rate you. Why? Because once her money runs out, even if you manage to save it and give it to her, once again, you're back in the original position of her not rating you. Where did I get this idea from? I distilled it from red pill principles, which is the red pill principle in this regard is never negotiate on sex. Never negotiate on sex. If a woman is saying to you, I need you to cook, clean, do the dishes, jump through X amount of hoops and so on, then you can sleep with me. If she's doing that, this is a negotiation. Desire cannot be negotiated. Desire cannot be negotiated. I took that principle and I distilled it how we can benefit from this as Muslims, which is when a sister is telling you, I need X and X and I'm refusing to budge on it. What she is telling you is, I don't rate you. Because believe me, women who rate a man will pay him to take her. I'll say it again. A woman who rates a man, who really wants to be with this brother, she will pay him to take her, which renders the discussion of mahar as inconsequential. Inconsequential. And this is the point. I say to the brothers, look, it doesn't really matter whether she's insisting upon her high price or not. What you need to understand from that is that she's telling you, I don't rate you. Move on. Just move on, because when a woman rates a man, she does not care about the mahar. She is too scared to lose this man. She sees him as a 1 in a million man. She's too scared to lose him, and as a result of that, she's willing to take him for free. She will pay him. She will pay him. Where did I get this notion from? This idea, this philosophy? I distilled it from red pill principles and took it for something that Muslims can benefit from, because desire can't be negotiated. I have a video on love and desire. I've mentioned it before. In fact, I'll put it up in the end screen, not the cards. I don't want you to get distracted right now. I'll put it in the end screens. Watch that video if you haven't watched it already. That explains the difference between love and desire and why desire can't be negotiated. When a woman says to you, you need to pay me £20,000 or I won't marry you, what she's telling you is, you are not enough. I need money to make you enough. You don't marry her. You politely move on. Where did I get that idea? Red pill principles. Another example. Why men and women can't be friends. Now, of course, Islam already teaches us men and women can't be friends. Taban, we know this. It's haram and so on and so forth. And that should be enough. That should be enough. But doesn't it help? Doesn't it fortify your iman even more when you find another reason that consolidates what you already knew from the religion? Like, for example, when you hear about a certain sunnah that has been recommended for the past 1400 years for us to do, and then you find out science has said, if you do this, or if you drink that, or if you wake up at this time, such and such will happen to you. This health or that benefit and so on. And you're like, wow, subhanallah. Why did I need to hear it from them when the Messenger of Allah already said it? But it consolidates your iman. It fortifies it even further. Where am I going with this? Men and women can't be friends. Red pill principle. Men and women cannot and should not be friends. This is a principle from the non-Muslims who propagate the red pill ideology. And yet they still have this same principle. Why? Because of the following. When a woman takes a man as a friend, what she is subcommunicating to him is, I have no sexual desire for you, therefore I feel comfortable as taking you on as one of my girlfriends. Wow. Deep. Deep. You can benefit from that. We can teach our young Muslim boys, the ones who are fed up of hearing it's haram and so on and so forth. Appeal to self-interest. It's one of the laws in 48 Laws of Power. Appeal to self-interest. Why? Yes, you could argue, but Mahdi, it is enough. Self-interest. You want to save yourself from the hellfire. Taqillah, young man. It's haram. I accept this is true. But sometimes this seems a little bit distant. It's a bit hard to grasp. I mean, first and foremostly, we can't even visualize what hellfire is. We have an idea, but whatever you think the hellfire is, it's not that. So when we tell our young boys and young girls it's haram for boys and girls to be friends, it's a bit difficult to grasp when we tell them that it's haram because Allah said so, and if you don't, you're going to go to the hellfire. There will be punishment. It can lead to zina and so on. It's a bit difficult for them to grasp. But when you tell a young man, if you are a friend of a girl, she is telling you, I am not attracted to you. Wow, that hits home. That hits home hard. When you tell a young man, if you take this girl as your companion, as your friend, she will never be a friend to you because you know you're waiting there, hoping, waiting one day that the opportunity will arise whereby you can either ask her for marriage, or if you're not practicing Muslim, then to do whatever else you want to do with her. And if that opportunity doesn't present itself, you just sit there waiting. But when you tell a young man, being her friend completely eradicates this possibility. Eradicates it because she doesn't see you like that. She sees you as one of her girlfriends. That's like a huge wake-up call to a young man. It's like, wow, Islam was right once again. No female friends. Having female friends blunts you. Men are knives and women are things that unsharpen a knife, that blunts a knife. And that's perfectly fine. That's how women are. That's how they should be. They're soft. They're nurturing. You come home to them in the evening to spend that quality time with her, with your wife, and so on. But when you take females as friends, they blunt you more than you need to be. And then they themselves are not attracted to you. When you tell a young man that, that's like, wow, subhanallah. Islam was right once again. It consolidates and fortifies your belief in the deen. So what's wrong with that? And anyone who says that red pill or red pill ideas, philosophies, again, it's a praxeology, it's not even a philosophy, it's not an ideology, that the study of human conduct and behavior, to say that's haram is as ludicrous as saying it's haram to seek wrestling advice from a professional wrestling coach who's not Muslim because Islam encourages wrestling. That's nonsensical. It makes no sense. And anyone who says that about that the red pill or things like this is haram, that's an indication to me that you don't know what the red pill is. You don't understand it. You don't understand it, because if you did, then you would see that many of the teachings that the red pill highlights of human behavior and conduct is simply in synchrony with Islam already, with what we already know. And it goes deeper than that. It goes, for example, I was listening to a podcast this morning about the woman's hormonal cycle, her monthly cycle, and why she is more predisposed to one type of man at one point of her cycle, and then she is more predisposed to another type of man at another point in her cycle. Why is that? When she's just before she comes into her period, she's more predisposed to the beta provider, the nice guy, the safe guy, someone who would take care of her. But when she's in the middle, that 1 week, 7 day period, when she's looking to mate, when the egg is about to drop, she's looking for the alpha seed, the guy who she perceives to be the most alpha individual. Typically, those type of men don't tend to be very good, very reliable men, particularly in the non-Muslim world. Now, of course, Islam, if you use Islam as your framework, you can be a good provider and very alpha, طبعا. But amongst the non-Muslims, the alpha archetypes tend to be unreliable from a provision perspective. So at one point in her cycle, she's looking for the alpha guy, the alpha archetype, and then at another point, she's looking for the secure, safe beta provider. Once again, red pill simply highlights the study of human behavior and why it is the way that it is. Now, going on to the Fresh and Fit podcast, I can see why a lot of Muslims would take issue with it, because number one, the brother who runs the show, Myron, Ahmad, his the actual name, he is not practicing. You know, I don't know him, I can't judge him, but from what we can see, it's evident. He has promiscuous sex and he drinks alcohol. That's enough to know that he's not a practicing Muslim. Okay, fine. After that, they bring on, you know, how can we say, question mark individuals. Women from the sex industry, for example, porn stars, men and women alike for that matter. Obviously, this is haram in and of itself. Or it goes without saying. But it's missing the point. The point is, what type of conversations are being had? What's coming out that we can benefit from? Because time and time again, and I've watched a number of those podcasts now, the same theme comes out. The same message which you as a Muslim or non-Muslim man can benefit from greatly with regards to the insight of how women think. Now you could make the case, oh, but he's bringing on bimbos. Okay, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Maybe those girls are an extreme representation of how most women think. An extreme representation. But nevertheless, the representation is there. And you can take benefit from that. For example, all women are looking for the same type of man. A man who earns at least 100,000 a year, who's over 6 foot plus, who looks like such and such, and on and on and on. You hear the same narrative over and over and over again coming out of these women's mouths. And it's interesting to hear. It's interesting to see, to witness, to learn from. They're human beings at the end of the day. Myron also has he's very adept at framing things in a way that connects with women on a feelings level. We have different styles of communication. Men are into their stats, facts, and so on. We want something solid. Women are more into their feelings. He often hits that button and says, let me take you into a dream world, and I want you to imagine such and such and such. And he hits them on their feelings. He gets them by their feelings. That was an interesting learning point for me. that when you want to communicate with a woman and convince her of a point, don't use stats and facts alone. You need to get her in the feelings, because that's how she communicates. Again, I don't see any Muslims talking about this in the Islamic space on YouTube. I don't see it. I don't hear a distillation or a distilling of these red pill principles, which can so very easily be used from a perspective of, as a practicing Muslim, to benefit from. I don't hear anyone talking about it. I don't hear anyone talking about it on YouTube. As far as I know, I'm the only one who takes these red pill principles and distills them for practicing Muslims to benefit from, because there is benefit. And for you to say there isn't benefit, again, is like saying you shouldn't go to the non-Muslim wrestling coach because Islam encourages wrestling. This is ludicrous. Take the good wherever you find it. Red pill is this. It's the study of human action and conduct. The end is a proxology. The study of human action and conduct. Take that information wherever you may find it, and of course, use your knowledge of Islam and common sense, I hope, to understand what is halal and what is haram. For example, sleeping with multiple women and all the rest of it. I hope that's an obvious thing. As a Muslim, you can't do that. But you can speak to multiple sisters at the same time if you're looking for a woman. Polygyny, and I'll end on this. I never once heard this amongst the practicing Muslims on YouTube or elsewhere. All I hear amongst the men is, sisters, taqillah, you should accept polygyny. Okay, great. They should. It's something that Allah has ordained. But do you understand why they don't? No, you don't. You don't get it. And as far as I know, I am the only one who has explained it on YouTube. Or anywhere else for that matter, that the existential fear of a woman is to share an average man. Most brothers who want polygyny are average. And you as an average man will struggle to make above average demands, such as having multiple women, if you don't level up yourself. Then the Prophet will say, oh, but Ibrahim alayhi salam had multiple wives. The Prophet had multiple wives. Ali radiallahu anhu had multiple wives. What do you notice? What trend do you notice in those names that I have just fired off? They were all exceptional men. All of them. Any woman will sign up in a long line to be married to an exceptional man. I was speaking to one of my patrons on Patreon yesterday on our monthly Zoom call, and he said to me, Mahdi, I've noticed a trend. I'm on this website called secondwife.com. And I've noticed a trend where young girls, 18, 19, 20-year-old girls, in their prime beauty, health, fertility, and so on, they are asking to be second wives. I asked him, why is that? He said to me, there's a condition. They are only willing to be second wives to exceptional men. Women have realized that this exceptional man that every woman wants, he's rare. He is rare. He earns over a certain amount. He looks a certain way. He has a certain physical appearance. His character, his morals, his deen. To get all of that in one package is rare. They have realized this. So women in their prime are voluntarily signing up to be second, third, even fourth wives to that type of man. Why? Because women break rules for men they rate. I never heard one person say this on YouTube or make reference to this. And inform the brothers that the reason why you're getting so much pushback from your wife to take on another wife is because you are average. You're average. Not one person has highlighted this on YouTube. As far as I know, I'm the first. So you heard it here first. You want to take on another woman, you will have to level up, because all the individuals you keep quoting as examples of men who have had many wives in history, in our Islamic history, were all exceptional men. The end. So I hope I've covered that briefly. I hope I have given better perspective on the red pill and why there is no doubt that it has its place as Muslims that we can benefit from, because it's simply the study of human behavior. That's it. You go to secular universities, don't you, to study your biology and medicine and so on. What's the difference here? There's no difference. It's the study of human behavior. Take the good, leave the bad, use your common sense. Jazakumullah khair. Hit the like, hit the share. Make sure you share this with someone. And if you're not subscribed, hit that big red subscribe button. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.